The Holy Gospel of Jesus Christ according to St. John. John chapter 20 verses 1 to 2. 11 to 18. Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the tomb. So she ran and went to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one Jesus loved, and said to them, "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we do not know where they have laid him." Mary stood weeping outside the tomb. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb, and saw two angels in white, sitting where the body of Jesus had been lying, one at the head and the other at the feet. They said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" She replied, "They have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him." When she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you looking for?" Supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means, teacher. Jesus said to her, "Do not hold on to me, because I have not yet ascended to the Father. But go to my brothers and say to them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary Magdalene went and announced to the disciples, "I have seen the Lord," and she told them that he had said these things to her. "Why are you weeping?" A whisper from the empty tomb. Healing reflection based on John chapter 20 verses 1 to 2. 11 to 18. On that early morning of the first day of the week, as the sky was still wrapped in mist and silence, a lonely woman took slow steps toward a stone tomb, the burial place of her beloved teacher, Jesus. She carried no hope of meeting the living one. All she brought was grief, longing, and a heart bleeding with sorrow. Mary did not come expecting a miracle or a vision. She came to cry, to stand there like a relative at a cemetery, where dreams are buried, and hopes are sealed behind stone. But right at that place of what seemed like a final ending, a new beginning quietly emerged. And among the tears, a sacred encounter was about to unfold. 1. The unnamed pain, the pain of loss. There are pains that need no explanation. If you've ever lost someone you deeply loved, someone who meant everything to you, then you understand Mary's sorrow. Jesus was not only her teacher, he was her renewed reason for living. The one who had healed her, restored her dignity, and given her back her identity. Mary's story echoes the stories of many mothers who've lost their children in disasters, wives who bid farewell to husbands in war, husbands wiping tears alone beside a departed wife's altar, children standing quietly in the rooms of their deceased parents. An elderly woman once shared that after her husband passed away, every morning she still made a cup of tea and placed it on the chair he used to sit in. No one asked her to, but her heart remembered, and in that small act, there was something of Mary's own grief, standing by the tomb and weeping. 2. Why are you weeping? Heaven's question to the brokenhearted. It was while Mary was crying that the angels appeared and asked her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" Jesus himself would later echo the same question. "Why are you weeping? Whom are you looking for?" These were not interrogations, but gentle, tender questions, like a mother sitting beside her crying child, softly asking, "Why are you crying? My dear, you can talk to me." Such a question opens the door to healing. when we dare to face our grief, to speak of the pain that breaks us, grace can enter. God is not afraid of our tears. He doesn't turn away from our weakness. In fact, it is often in the tears that He draws closest. A young woman who had recently endured a painful heartbreak once came to an old priest. She asked, "Father, why does God let me suffer even though I still believe and pray to Him?" The priest didn't answer at once. He simply handed her a handkerchief and said, "Cry, my child. Don't fear your tears, because in those tears, God will come to you." And she did cry, deeply and freely. Afterward, she whispered, "I don't know why, but I feel lighter now." Sometimes heaven's answers are not words, but the quiet presence of someone sitting beside us. 3. When pain clouds our sight. Mary saw Jesus but did not recognize Him. She mistook Him for the gardener. Pain can do that, cloud our eyes and confuse our hearts. Even if we still go to church, still pray, still try to live right, it can feel like we're walking in fog, unable to see or hear God clearly. That feeling is very real. And Mary teaches us something precious. It's okay not to recognize Jesus immediately. It's okay to be confused, to feel lost in grief. What matters most is, Jesus is still there, and He will call us by name. 4. He calls her name, a voice that awakens the soul. Mary, just one word, a name, spoken with love, and instantly, she turned and recognized Him. Like a mother who can pick out her child's voice in a crowd. Like a lover who senses the beloved's presence even without seeing them. Mary's heart recognized her teacher. Not through reason, but through love, and she cried out, "Rabboni, teacher." There was once a man who had struggled with alcohol for years. After many failed rehab attempts, he recalled the moment that changed him. "I heard my wife call my name, not with words, but through her tears. She didn't scold me. She just looked at me and cried. In her eyes, I heard everything. I knew I couldn't go on living like that." God's voice doesn't always thunder. Sometimes, it's a whisper, but that whisper can raise a soul from the depths. If today, you feel a name being called in your heart, it may be Jesus calling you. 5. From tears to mission, the first woman sent. When Mary recognized Jesus, she wanted to hold on to Him. But He gently said, "Do not cling to me, go and tell my brothers." She wasn't allowed to keep the joy to herself. She was sent. She became the first evangelist after the resurrection. And her message was simple. "I have seen the Lord." That one line was more powerful than any theology, more moving than any sermon. It was her lived experience, a real encounter, and that was enough to stir hearts. You don't need to be a scholar or preacher to share the gospel. You just need to be someone who has seen the Lord in life, in your suffering, in your healing, and share that. 6. The silent signs of His presence. An old priest once said, "I no longer look for grand miracles. If I see a suffering person smile again, I know Jesus is alive." A father who lost his daughter in an accident later began teaching at an orphanage. When asked why, he said, "I thought my life was over. But these children helped me live again. I see my daughter's eyes in each of them. And I believe Jesus is there." Jesus doesn't always show up in blinding light or heavenly voices. Sometimes He comes through someone helping you up, through someone listening to you, or someone calling your name in a crowd. And if we are quiet and open-hearted, we will recognize Jesus is alive. Jesus is calling my name. 7. Final words. To the one who is weeping. If today you are weeping, for loss, for pain, for the coldness of life, please don't despair. Let yourself cry, but also let yourself be called. Jesus may not erase every wound immediately, but he promises to stay with you, to walk with you, to love you unconditionally. Be still, turn around, like Mary did, and then you will realize, I have seen the Lord. And maybe, from today, you will be the one sent to tell others still in sorrow. I too once cried, but then I saw the Lord, and it was he who wiped away my tears.